What's going on, everybody? I'm Terrence, and this is Bank Shipping. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's having a good morning so far. It is Monday morning. If you ain't up, go ahead and get up, start that grind. I know Mondays is terrible. Just came off the weekend, had fun, whatever. Hope everybody had fun. But now it's back to that grind. So last video, we shut her down in Virginia Beach. We spent the weekend with the fam in Virginia Beach, had a blast. It was a rainy weekend, but the rain held off until the afternoon every day. So had some pretty nice storms coming through there. But we was able to go to the beach and everything and do all the fun stuff at the beach during the day. And then we, took it back into the room and ate dinner and all that stuff at nighttime, and that's when the storms came late at night. So it didn't affect us any, but we are back on the grind here for Monday. I had a 2-stop pickup. One pick was in Virginia Beach. It was actually not even a mile. It was like 0.8, 0.8 of a mile from Big Charlie's Truck Plaza where I parked the truck. So, it took me 5 minutes to get to my pickup this morning. Couldn't pick up till 8, but I got there a little early and they was ready to load me. So got loaded with some empty A-frames, for like what they use for glass and marble and stuff like that. I got 5 of them in Virginia Beach, and then I'm at my second pick, which is in Ashland, Virginia, which is, an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes up the road on the way. So, I didn't have to deviate from the path at all, and I got 4 here. So we got 9 total. They told me it was going to take up 48 foot of deck space, but it's actually not even taking up. All right, guys, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I had my GoPro on charge all night last night, but for some reason, I guess it didn't charge. And it went dead right in the middle of filming. So what I was saying was the load was supposed to be a full 48 foot full of deck space, full truckload, and it was supposed to be, I think, 11,000 pounds. But it only ended up being like 40 feet of deck space and like 5,000 pounds. So I take that as a win-win. So they said that, it was supposed to pick up today, both stops. And the guy, was like, oh, well, I doubt you'll be able to deliver it same day, so you can deliver it first thing Tuesday morning. Well, I guess they don't know how your boy Django like to roll. Got both of them loaded, in and out, strapped down, got up the road. The receiver stopped receiving at 2:30, and I got here at 1:45. So we are empty, as you can see. Easy unload, got my bill signed. Now we are about to head home. Got a couple things to fix on the truck. Not really a couple, it's really just one big thing. But basically, and I passed all the scales, so hopefully I don't see no DOT man setting on the side of the road. But basically, right here, this whole light bar, yes, I have a Kentucky farm tag still on here just because I haven't changed it yet. But I do have an actual plate on the front. Virginia only requires you to run a plate on the front. So that's what I got. Kind of kept this on here until I could get something else to put back here because I didn't want to leave it blank. So I got a nice old school Peterbilt vintage license plate that I got to put on. But I had to take the back cover off to get these bolts out so that I can put that on. So what a perfect time to do that, because what happened is this bolt right here, right there, vibrated out. And so I'm guessing the ground was held on by that bolt right there, because I can see kind of like the ring terminal. So that bolt vibrated out, so now there's no ground, so that means I have no lights right here on the back of the tractor. Everything else still works, trailer lights and all that stuff works, because that stuff is separate with the plug. So I still got turn signals and all that on the trailer, so it's not that big of a deal. I just don't have any turn signals, running lights, brake lights, all that good stuff on the tractor. So we're gonna go back, see if we can find us a bolt and get that back on, take that back cover off, get that fixed up so we can get ready for tomorrow, because I don't want to be riding with a bunch of lights out. So it's the only downfall to having a bunch of lights is you gotta make sure all of them work. So we're gonna get out of here, and I'll see y'all in a little bit. All right, guys, so I was gonna come home and park the truck, That way I could fix those lights. But I ended up finding a load. It was 30 miles, I think Martinsburg is, from the house. So I figured, why not? I'll go ahead and grab this because I was looking for something. I was waiting on a couple phone calls from some customers to see about some loads that could potentially go tomorrow, you know, load and go. But saw this one, decided I'll go ahead and take it since it's right there. So I was already coming down that route anyway. Instead of going south, I ended up going north 30 miles. So I picked that up. It is some plastic pipe, 18,000 pounds, or a little under. It's like 17.3, something like that. So it's 5 total bundles, and you know me very well. I over secured the crap out of this thing. So I got 1, 2, 3 on the bottom 4, you know, because it's 2 and 2 on the other side. So I got 3 straps on the bottom 4 bundles. So, and then I have a 5th bundle up top, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straps on the top bundle. So, you know, I got my whole 2 up front because the top, that's what's going to slide forward. The bottom 2, if they were to slide forward, they'd hit the step. So the top, if it slid forward, in the unfortunate event that they did slide forward, there's nothing to stop it. So, you know, I got my 2 straps in the front, you know, and then of course the whole every 10 feet ordeal, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then at first I just had 1 strap back here on the very back. And I told myself, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and add an extra strap, because what's an extra strap? So I added an extra strap, you know, so that I have the 2 on the rear. Even though I have this, there's nothing that was on top, so I have 2 on top. So that makes for a total of, sorry if I was close to the camera there, that makes a total of 3 straps on the back, 5 feet. So, you know, that's what it looks like from behind, if y'all can see the sun without the sun glare or whatever. So yeah, 40 foot long, all fits on the bottom deck. Like I said, 17.3. They did have 1 pallet, like of these 2, I don't even know what they are. They're like caps for not these pipes, or they might be reducers or something like that. But it's those right there, and they aren't like the easiest thing to strap. You know, they're setting at an angle. Hold on, show y'all better. I'll get up here. Oh, so I don't know how well the camera will show it, but you know, you got this big round piece, which is the same as this big round piece, and then you got this little tail right here. So they kind of set, you know, at an angle. You know, one setting this way and the other setting this way. So you couldn't really just throw a strap over top of it, because the strap, you know, it's round, so the strap would just kind of slide off with the bumps. So what I ended up doing was I X-strapped underneath, which catches the 2 tails, and then I, you know, put the other strap, you know, I did a diagonal strap for the X on the bottom over the tails, and then I did the other diagonal strap over the top, which catches both of the round pieces, the round tops. So, you know, the 30 or so mile ride, make sure I can get down here without falling down or tripping or hurting myself. You know, the ride down, it didn't budge at all. So, I mean, and I just tried to tighten up my ratchet, and it's pretty tight, can't go anymore. So I'd say it's not moving. And if it does, you know, those things are banded to the pallet. And so, you know, with those straps going in between everything, if my straps were to get loose, it would still hold, unless the strap completely failed, got cut or something like that. If they got loose, it would still hold that pallet, just because it's going in between. So that's how I got that. But all in all, I ended up getting my lights fixed, and I got my nice new vintage Peterbilt license plate back here. So I still got done what I needed to do today. The lights are working. It was a ground issue because that bolt came out. You know, as soon as I threw the new bolt in there, you know, the lights came right back on. So I picked this up, came here, locked the truck up, left it running so the old girl could cool down, ran to the AutoZone, picked up, you know, some license plate mounts, came back, took the backing plate off of the little light box. You know, it's like 6 screws, 10-minute job, if that. Everything actually went according to plan for once, and everything's good to go. So this load goes to Henrico, which is outside of Richmond. Goes to a landfill tomorrow. That's the only thing I don't like about this pipe. It's a great load, pays great. I've ran a lot of this stuff. Actually, my owner operator is you know, Tevin, Virginia Hotshot. He's actually running a load of this also today. He picked up this morning going down North Carolina. You know, so both trucks is on this this pipe load. But the only thing I hate about it is a lot of times it goes to landfills, and landfills is nasty. Y'all know all the trash and stuff that we throw out. It's always dirty. So 9 times out of 10, my truck's gonna get dirty. I'm gonna have to wash it again, but that's okay, because I budget for truck washes just to keep it clean. You know, I've said it before, I love having a clean truck. It's part of the business. You know, I actually had a guy today, I was coming down the road, coming down 340 to go get this load, and a guy in a nice W900, you know, was coming the opposite direction, and he hollers at me on the radio. He's like, damn, I didn't know there was going to be a truck show coming down 340 today with that nice sexy 359. You know, so it's things like that, you know, that make me tickle, make me happy. I don't know about tickle, that's kind of weird. I might have to edit that out. But that's what makes me happy. You know, yeah, it's nice making money, but what really makes me happy is when somebody likes my truck. That's just how I am. You know, that's how I feel. Like that's part of being a trucker, is having pride in your ride. And you know, when somebody else likes what you have, it means you're doing something. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. We'll hit this back in the morning. I'm gonna jump in the AC, cool off, go home, take a shower, eat some dinner, start again in the morning. So I'll see y'all then. so we got that load of pipe dropped off. Super muddy in there. Hit a pothole, or not a pothole, but it was like a ditch that, you know, when I was coming in, I had to make a right-hand turn. Jersey walls on the, you know, the far side, so you couldn't swing it too wide, and it's pretty much big enough for the truck and trailer to get through. And it was kind of weird because the mud, it looked like it was flat, but as I was turning and the trailer tires got down into it, I mean, it pretty much just buried my trailer tires. You know, some mud all the way up to the bottom of the trailer. But you know, I didn't get stuck or anything, so that's a good thing. But we got unloaded and ran back to the customer and got a load of insulation, 53-foot load that goes to Aberdeen, Maryland in the morning. So I'll drop that off. I got a 6 a.m. appointment again. Same thing I did last week, so I'll drop that off, leave there, go down to Dundalk, pick up an empty container, run that to Fredericksburg. You know, so everything worked out pretty good. And been seeing a lot of stuff here lately about rates, you know, and I talked a little bit about the $2 a mile thing on the last video. And I had some people comment about, you know, the average mile figure that I used. And when I looked it up, you know, it said 45,000 miles per year, but that took into account all commercial vehicles. You know, so not just semis, you're talking box trucks and straight trucks and things like that. So it tend to lower, you know, the mileage a little bit. But if you go to the semi average, I think it's something like, you know, 80,000 along those lines. But if you move that figure up to 80,000 miles and you adjust accordingly for your fuel mileage and for how much money you put in fuel for those extra miles, and then how much money you put towards maintenance and those extra miles, is, you know, compare from 45,000 to 80,000. You know, at $2 a mile per all miles traveled, you get about $160,000 a year. But you know, with the increase in the fuel for those 80,000 and the maintenance and all that stuff, you know, you get to a point where you're profiting maybe half. You know, you're profiting 45 to 50% of that 160,000, and that's before you pay any taxes, licenses, fees, anything that you have business wise or personal taxes wise. So you know, the point that I was trying to make wasn't about how much money you can make or how much money you can profit. The point that I was trying to make is, in order to make that money, you got to be averaging $2 a mile per all miles. So in order to do that, you can't run for $2 a mile, because you're not going to be loaded 100% of the time. You're not going to be loaded all those miles. So if you're only running $2 a mile loads, $2 a mile loads, your per all mile average is going to be less than $2 a mile, and that's going to cut even more down into that profit margin of, you know, off the example that I had. So the point that I was trying to make is $2 a mile just simply doesn't work if you want to average $2 a mile per all miles. You got to run higher than that to get your per all mile average $2 and above. You know, but along with that, you know, you have, you know, the $2 a mile rates and things like that. You got negotiation skills. So I wanted to go a little bit over about how to use the load board. You know, I'm sure there's plenty of videos out there about how to use the load boards, but I'm going to show you some of the things that I use. I don't use the load board all the time. When I first started the business, I did, just because I didn't have any clients. I didn't have any direct customers or anything like that. Didn't have any relationships. So I was using the load board all the time. But now I pretty much just use the load board for backhauls or in between loads if I have some customers that don't have anything. So, you know, the two load boards that I use are Keep Trucking, or not Keep Trucking, that's my ELD, sorry. Well, I don't even use the ELD anymore. But Truckstop and DAT, or DAT, however you want to say it. So, you know, if you get on your Truckstop app, and I suggest everybody that's using Truckstop, you know, you go ahead and get the premium version. This isn't a paid ad or anything like this. This isn't a paid video, but the premium version allows you to show you some other things that you don't get with the basic version. So when you first open your load board, it's going to come up with your dashboard, and on your dashboard, you know, you'll have your new load search, and you know, you can post your truck in a certain area. You know, you can use the GPS to find loads near me. If you're somewhere and you're trying to get home, you can just click the button that says get me home, and it'll show you loads that are going near your home from where you're at. Or you can, you know, like I said, you can do a new load search, and you can search from wherever to wherever. Me, since I stay within a 250, 300 mile radius, I basically just say, you know, because I'm out of Winchester, so I'll pick, you know, loads picking up within 150 miles of Winchester, going within 300 miles of Winchester. So those are my parameters. Or if say I'm somewhere up in New Jersey, you know, Newark, New Jersey, then I'll set my parameters for 150 miles around Newark, New Jersey, going back, you know, within, I can say 300 miles of Winchester, because a lot of times I can pick up a load, come home, and then continue the rest of the way the next morning. So, you know, if you were to do, you know, for instance, I'll just click my Winchester loads, you know, from Winchester to Winchester for my radius. You know, a lot of times right now I have it filtered by weight, but you can filter it however you want. You can filter it by new loads, by length, by weight, you know, pickup day, drop off day. And all you got to do is hit the little plus in the corner, and to edit your search, you know, you can do your pickup date, what type of equipment you have, you know, that you're looking for, as far as, you know, flatbed, step deck, all that good stuff, Hotshot, you know, and then so on and so on. So, you know, right now I have it filtered by weight, just because when I was running my Hotshot, I would filter it by weight, because of course I always tried to haul the lightest for the most money, because that made sense to me. You know, hauling heavy doesn't always pay. So if I could find me a load that was 3,000 pounds that was paying pretty good, then I would take that versus a 10,000 pound load that was paying the same price. So I just never changed it, and because I just got used to it, so I never changed that filter parameter. You know, but you know, you just keep on scrolling and scrolling and scrolling until you find a load, you know, that you like. And it also, you know, on Truckstop, it'll tell you, you know, where it's picking up, where it's dropping off, and who the broker is, the type of equipment, you know, that it requires. Sometimes it'll have the weight on there, sometimes it won't. You know, and then how long it's been since it's been posted, and also the mileage for the actual trip, as well as the rate. Sometimes there's not a rate on there. A lot of times that means that there's room for negotiation, and then sometimes that just means the broker was lazy and was trying to hurry up and get the post out, so they didn't put a rate on there. You know, so I'll scroll down here till I can find a load, because there seems to be a lot of loads on here with no rates. We'll see if we can find a rate for something. All right, so let's say we got this load from Danville, Virginia to Kingston, New York. 562 miles. It's 7,000 pounds, 34 feet long. They're looking for a step deck or low boy, and the rate that's posted is $1,000. And then it also has the broker on there. So if I click that load, okay, it's going to bring up a little more detail once I click that load. You know, it's showing me where the pickup is, when the pickup is, and then where the drop off is. Sometimes it'll have a drop off date, sometimes it won't. Don't let not having a drop off date fool you, because sometimes people think that just because it doesn't have a drop off date, that means you got a lot of time to work with. Sometimes that's not the case. You can call the broker and there's no drop off date, but they want it ran same day or dropped off same day or next day delivered. You know, so don't let that fool you. Don't think that, you know, it's a, you know, get it when I get there type of thing. You know, and then it also, like, once again, it has the rate, posted rate, the type of equipment they're looking for, you know, the mileage, and what the estimated fuel cost is for that trip. You know, you go down even further, and it gives you sometimes, not all the time, but it'll give you the dimensions, the weight, the length, the width, the height. So, you know, this load is 7,000 pounds, 34 feet long, 8 foot wide, 5.5 foot long, or 5.5 foot tall. You know, it says it's a cube, you know, 1,496 cubed. They say it's one piece, and they're looking for a step deck with loading ramps or load board. Then when you get down, it also has, you know, if there's extra stops, you know, if it's a multiple stop load. Then you get down into special information. Sometimes there's things there, sometimes there's not. If it's something pretty straightforward, it's not going to have any special information in there. So then, you know, it tells you who to call, what extension to call, a lot of times in the special information. And then it tells you sometimes what it is. It might say if it's an OD load or something like that. You know, so this right here is 2 Buicks, and it says it's cash on delivery. You know, ACH wire, all that good stuff, ready now. So then it goes down to the posting company. Okay, so your posting company, it tells you who the contact is at that posting company, a good contact email, a good phone number, a good fax number. You know, and then it also, that's where you'll find your broker MC. So if you're using a factoring company, you can go into, if that factoring company has an app or you got a call, you can go and you can give them that broker MC number to see if their credit is good enough for that factoring company for you to be able to factor that load. You know, now some people may say because this is a cash on delivery load, you don't have to worry about that because you're going to get cash on delivery. You don't have to worry about factoring. But if you were factoring, that's what you need to see if that broker is good with that factoring company. If you are with one of the bigger factoring companies and they're not good with that factoring company, ding, 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 that should give you an indicator that that broker probably really isn't worth running that load for. That's just the way that I look at things. If your credit score isn't good for, well, not the credit score, but, you know, the credit as far as what the factoring company is, and that goes off, you know, their ability to pay, how long it takes them to pay out their invoices and stuff like that. It's a bunch that goes into that. But if the factoring company isn't willing to factor that load from that broker, then that's something that I don't even want to deal with. I don't even want to deal with that broker. It's not worth the time. And I've been burned like that before where the factoring company didn't factor. And I said, you know what? This load's paying pretty good money. I'll just go ahead and wait my 30, 60, whatever days to pay. And after that, I ended up having to call the company and threatening to seek legal action because they never paid. They tried to tell me they sent a check and all this other stuff, but eventually it got resolved. But to me, that was a lesson learned to not even work with companies like that anymore. You know, so then you can go down, you know, to your credit stop. A lot of times your credit stop, that's Truckstop's credit stop. You know, it'll tell you the average days to pay and the experience factor with that broker. And then you can go down to the rate mate, and you can click show rates, and it'll turn and turn and turn. So this is what I like a lot. I like what I want to tell everybody. This is why I say get the premium, so that you can look at these things. Because with the rate mate, it shows you what the average rate is for that lane. Okay, so when I say from that lane or for that lane, it doesn't specifically mean from that city to the city that's dropping off. It doesn't mean, where was it going? It doesn't mean that the average rate from Danville, Virginia to Kingston, New York that's what the average rate is for that. It means within a certain amount of miles of Danville, Virginia to a certain amount of miles around Kingston, New York, for that lane, that is the average paid rate. Okay, so you got the average posted rate and the average paid rate. So the average posted rate on this load is $2,045.32. Okay, so the average posted rate per mile is $4.03. All right, the average paid rate is a flat fee of $2,100.33 and $4.56 a mile. So you can already see that the average posted rate is lower than what the average paid rate is. So people are getting more money than what the average post is. The average posted rate is. People are negotiating up and getting more money. Okay. And then you have the posted rate at the top here. $1,000 flat fee, $1.78 per mile. Okay. So those two numbers down there, the average posted rate and the average paid rate, is what gives you negotiating power. Okay. That's the numbers that you should be using for negotiation. Okay. Because $4 a mile, or $4.56 a mile, is pretty good, and may even need to be a little bit more running up into New York, depending on how far you're going with tolls and everything like that. You know, if you're going straight up 95, which Danville, Virginia is off of 85, so you go 85 to 95 all the way up to New York, you're going to run into tolls in Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Jersey, and New York. You know, so you can get an app. There's apps out there for toll generators. You know, you can see how much money a toll is going to cost you to go from wherever to wherever, how much those tolls are going to cost. So you can factor that into your rate. And you know you got to run a bunch of tolls. And so you look and you think to yourself, $1.78 per mile is what this broker's posted. But the average paid rate is $4.56 miles. So I would like to have this load. So I'm going to call this broker and ask, okay, I'm going to get all the information. I'm going to say, hey, average paid rate is $4.50 a mile. How close can you get to that? If they say they can't get close at all, okay, have a nice day. Hang up the phone. Because $1.78, I don't know about y'all, but $1.78 ain't worth my time, especially going to New York. Okay, so use that tool as, you know, to your advantage. Use those tools to your advantage. Okay, so always, if you're on the load board and you're looking for a load, always go and look at what the average posted rate and average, and not even necessarily the average posted rate, because who cares about the posted rate? I want to know how much people are actually making, because sometimes you could have an average paid rate lower than the average posted rate. I know, crazy, right? It's super crazy, but people underbid other people and they slash rates and stuff like that. So the average paid rate starts to get lower than the average posted rate. And also brokers, when they're looking to move things from lane, you know, on certain lanes, they also look at that. So they know what the average posted rate is or the average paid rate is. They know, they got access to the same software that we have. So they know what the average paid rate is that lane. So don't let them try to fool you. You know, if they say, oh man, that's way too much. Well, according to Truckstop, it's not. You know, so that gives you some bargaining power and some negotiation power. Also, don't be fooled by the mileage on Truckstop. Always put it in Google Maps, even though that might not be the easiest, or not the easiest, but the best thing to use, because sometimes Google Maps uses non-truck routes, but it'll get you close. Use that for your mileage, because a lot of times they'll have it's 562 miles, okay? But sometimes it might be 562 miles air miles, and I'll get in that in with DAT, because you know DAT does that a lot. So you might end up actually 600 miles instead of 562 miles, and that brings that rate down even lower, you know, compared to what it's supposed, you know, it's posted at $1.78. Well, if you add 40 extra miles, it might go down a couple cents. You know, so keep that in mind also, but always use that rate mate when you're on the load board looking for loads. Even if it's a good paying load, you think it's a good paying load, just take a quick, it only takes 2 seconds, take a quick glance at that average paid rate, because it might be more, and then that might get you some more money. Okay, so that's pretty much the basics of Truckstop. All right, so DAT operates off of the same premises. So when you first open up DAT, you got your dashboard, and you know you can do your new search. you know, or get me home, and it goes according to GPS. And if you put it in the system where your home office is, it'll automatically populate that in, you know. So, you know, once again, I'll do the Winchester to Winchester thing, and you can go in and you can edit your search, you know, from where to where, what type of truck, you know, as far as flatbed, hotshot, oversized, you know, step deck, whatever, tanker, van, whatever you're running. You know, the length right now I have 53 foot. Weight I have 25,000, just because I don't want to max out my trailer. I don't want to max out my setup. There's no need to if I don't have to. If there's nothing that's, if I hit search and the load is blank, says no search found, then maybe I'll bump that up, but I've never had to. You know, so right there I got, you know, both full and partials, because I'll run both. I just don't run partial for partial money. I'll talk about that a little bit. And then, you know, what dates you're looking for, your start date and your end date, you know. So you hit search, it'll bring up all the loads available. All right, so if I get to scrolling here, let me see if I can find one that's got the little, here we go. I might be scrolling too fast because I don't see one, but whatever, we'll just click this. We'll click another New York load. So this is Greencastle, Pennsylvania to Brooklyn, New York. Now a lot of times on DAT, it'll have a little airplane beside one of the, you know, the mileage numbers. That airplane is air miles, or as the crow flies. It means straight line. Doesn't mean the actual road or route that you have to take. So keep that in mind. You know, so it'll have, you know, the pickup location, and in parentheses it has a number. That number is how many miles away it is from the city that you're searching in. And then you have Brooklyn, New York as the drop off, and that also has a number in parentheses, which is how many miles that away from the city that you're looking to drop in. Okay, so it's got the age, just like, you know, on Truckstop. You know, it's very similar how long that load's been posted. It's got the offer on there as well, and then also the average rate for that lane. It pops right up, and then what the trip mileage is. Now for me, I don't have the premium on DAT just because I don't really use DAT a whole lot. Most of the loads that I find are on Truckstop, and then if I don't see anything on Truckstop for a backhaul, I'll look on DAT or DAT. So I don't use DAT as much as Truckstop. That's why I just don't have the premium for DAT. But you know, if I did, I would have the you know, the average rate up there, as far as what the average rate is for that lane. But it's the same premises as Truckstop. It gives you bargaining power. So, you know, it's laid out a little bit differently than Truckstop, but it pretty much has the same thing. You know, your pickup date, pickup hours is blank on here. Dock hours are blank on here. The type of truck, F for flatbed, length 48 feet, weight 20,000 pounds. Also has the brokerage company name on there, their credit score, their average days to pay. Okay. Also, it'll have their MC number so that you can also look to see if they're good with your factoring company, if you factor. You know, the contact number for the load. And if you want to call on the load, you just hit the little blue phone right there, and it'll bring up the phone number for the load. So with that, like I said, it's very similar to Truckstop. Both of them operate off the same premises. They give you the same information. So the main thing that I wanted to get out with these load boards, or using the load boards, is using those rate mates, using those average lane pays to your advantage, because that is what's going to give you all your bargaining power, all your negotiating power. You know, some people may say, well, I'm not the best negotiator. Well, if you're going to be in this business, you should learn your negotiation skills, because that is a big part of this business is negotiating. So you always want to keep that in mind, okay? And then you don't want to sell yourself short. You want to get the best rate that you possibly can. So please, please, please use those rate mates, okay? And then also with partials, you know, if it's same day or next day delivery, it is not a partial. It is an expedited freight shipment charged for the full truck. Don't take nothing less. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get off of here. Family looks like they're about to come home. So hope everybody learned something from this video. If you have any questions or like me to go into anything any further, just let me know down in the comments. As always, stay prayed up, grind hard, and stay humble.